Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Sean here with Revealing Truth. Today we're going to look at perhaps one of the most important topics there is, and that is how to share the good news of Jesus Christ. I remember when I was newly born again, how excited I was to tell others about Jesus, but I didn't really know how and didn't have many of the answers to questions people would ask. So today we're going to talk about two ways the Bible speaks of sharing the gospel. And then each week after, we'll do one episode in handling objections we get when sharing the gospel. Because what the enemy wants is for us to be discouraged from sharing God's word. When we don't know how to answer certain questions, he wants us to feel unworthy and makes us think maybe evangelism just isn't my gift. Now, while street preaching isn't everybody's gift, we all have family and friends that don't know Jesus. Our hairstylist, dentist, or doctor that don't know Jesus, and if they died today, they would spend eternity in hell. The checkout person at the grocery store or coffee shop, and people we see on a regular basis in stores or restaurants. We all know people that don't know Jesus, and if sharing the gospel with them is not important, even though we know they'd go to hell without Jesus, then we must question our own salvation. I think Charles Spurgeon said it best when he said, "Have you no wish for others to be saved? Then you're not saved yourself. Be sure of that." For this special series, it's going to be more of an audio podcast style with perhaps video pics here and there. But I hope this will help everyone be equipped to share the gospel with anyone and anywhere. So to start, we know that God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble, as we see in James 4:6 and 1 Peter 5:5. These are the two basic principles that we see Jesus use in the Bible. We know that the law is not made for a righteous person, but for those who are lawless. And we also know that the law is perfect in converting the soul. This is why we see Jesus using the law with the rich young ruler in Matthew 19. He was proud of his wealth. We have an example of both of these types of people in Luke 18 with the Pharisee and the tax collector. The Pharisee was proud and boasted of his works, and the tax collector fell to his knees, admitting he was a sinner and begged Jesus for mercy. So we have to remember that we're going to witness to each of these kinds of people in different ways. To the proud, we can use the law to plant the seed of humility, but to the humble that admits they have sin, we don't want to beat them down with the law and make them feel even more unworthy. We want to show them the love of God. Here's an example from when I was doing street witnessing with people in California. My partner and I approached this man with a gospel tract. My favorite tract, which unfortunately is no longer in print, was the $10,000 offer. It was an oversized bill, much like the $1 million tract. In the Philippines, we use the $1 million Duterte tract in the Filipino language, Tagalog. But the $10,000 tract was special because it actually had an offer on the back that if you could prove you were a good person according to the Bible, you would actually be awarded $10,000. Of course, it's impossible to do that according to the Bible standard of good, but it was a great opener. We said to this guy, "Hey there, did you get one of these yet?" He said, "What is it?" I handed it to him and said, "Here, it's the $10,000 offer. All you have to do is answer one question on the back successfully and you win 10 grand. That easy." He says, "Wow." I say, "Want to know what the question is?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." I said, "According to the Bible, would you consider yourself to be a good person?" Now, most people say, "Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've never killed anybody." And we'd use the law to witness. But this guy said, "No way, not a chance. I've done so many bad things in my life, there is not a hope I could ever go to heaven." We explain God's love and that we're all sinners, and even while we are sinners, that Christ died for us. But he still couldn't quite accept it, so I used an example. I pulled out a dollar bill. I said, "How much is this worth?" He said, $1. So I threw it on the ground and jumped on it. I picked it back up and said, "Now how much is it worth?" He said, $1. So I scrumpled it up, threw it in the dirt, and scraped it along the ground. I said, "Okay, now how much is it worth?" He said, $1, and he was starting to smile. So I spat on the bill, scrumpled it up some more, and made it even more dirty. I showed him this wrinkled, dirty, spit-dripping paper and said, "Okay, but now how much is it worth?" With a big smile, he says, $1. I said, "You got it, my friend. All of us have wrinkles, dirt, and junk in our lives, and none of us is perfect. But God still sees us as His wonderful creation and loves us so much that despite our faults, He was still willing to die for us on the cross. And by us admitting that we are imperfect sinners that deserve punishment, yet believe Jesus took the penalty for us, we can be born again and adopted into God's family. Does that make sense?" Still smiling, he said, "Yeah, that makes a lot of sense." We asked if he had a Bible, and he said no, so we gave him one. He said, "You know, my friend asked me to go to church this weekend, and I wasn't going to go, but now I think I will. Thank you, guys." And we said our goodbyes. So I wanted to finish off today with an example of sharing the gospel with the humble. And next week, we'll get into just one of the ways we can share the gospel with the proud. I really do hope you'll listen to this series as we tackle the different objections we get while sharing the good news, and that we can all become better witnesses for Christ. But as always, leave your thoughts and comments below, and until next time, take care and God bless.